Hello friends, my name is Kapak and I am a spaceman. Space can be pretty boring, so I'm going to tell you all about a film I saw. Today I'm going to tell you about The Chosen One and how he came out of nowhere and saved the world, which turned out to have been an elaborate simulacrum. I get simulacrums everywhere when I make toast. We start with the Warner Brothers and Village Roadshow logos, only they are animated differently than usual, in a very distinctive style. Coloured elements rain down from above. We dive deeper, travelling through the very fabric of the unreality we are about to partake of. One of the good guys has been discovered, and the enemy is closing in. Robotic beings with a penchant for sharp suits and sunglasses converge, but the hero is ready. They know some of the secrets of this world and perform amazing impossible feats, but the enemy have strange powers too, and things seem to slow down every time something cool happens. The good guy is no match for their implacable foe, and gets away, barely, but it seems the enemy has triumphed, although there seems to be a loose end. We jump to our average Joe main character, who is sleeping in his apartment. He lives alone, and his apartment contains an eclectic mix of odds and ends, but especially instructional books. We can tell he isn't much of a social type, but we see he tries his best to fit in. He seems to spend a lot of his spare time staring at a screen. He lives in the city, which seems to go on forever, but it doesn't seem to have a name that anyone is aware of. His alarm goes off, and he heads to work, where he is subject to a few not-so-subtle reminders about how important it is to toe the line and maintain the status quo. From the high-rise office buildings, we see even more of the city stretching off into the distance. Average Joe, not really mixing in with everyone else's revelry, bumps into a mysterious and beautiful figure with slicked-back black hair. She's looking for something, but as quickly as she appeared, she's gone again. Joe finds himself in an interrogation room where sunglassed and metaphorically robotic figures grill him with questions. The interrogator shows both a good side and a bad side, but Joe cannot or will not answer the questions. The mystery girl appears again to extricate Joe out of the trouble he's found himself in, and it turns out she's really into motorcycles.
Shit.
They lose the bad guys that are chasing them, but end up somewhere that looks like it escaped from a period piece. Suddenly we start getting some exposition about the nature of this strange reality and Joe's place in it, but Joe is struggling a little to keep up. He falls down the rabbit hole, where a little red thing, that you could easily swallow if you weren't careful, opens up his eyes to a hidden truth. A black dude with a mystical air and gravitas baked into his voice box talks about a prophecy of the one who will come and reshape the world, saving everybody in the process. He claims that Joe is this special person. But Joe still has his doubts. Apparently the key to self-actualization is training and believing in yourself, like it's some kind of self-help seminar where you have to buy dozens of special tapes to help you realize your potential. Where was I? Oh, right. We get a teensy glimpse of Joe's hidden power, but the enemy is still just too powerful. The heroes retreat to another world where everyone is free, but not everyone is happy with this freedom. We meet the rest of the crew. Most of them believe in the prophecy, but some of them aren't very impressed by Joe. But just as Joe starts to come to terms with all the weirdness that's going on, the agents of evil catch up to them, and they're surrounded. It turns out the bad guys stuck Joe with a tracking device. The heroes get away, but many of their allies don't make it. The bad guys send tentacled black machines with red eyes to hunt down the survivors. It turns out the bad guys are keeping people captive in pods, massive vertical fields of trapped figures with their brains plugged into machines. It's definitely to utilize their brain power as a network processing solution and not for use as batteries, because using people as batteries doesn't make any sense. The hero still isn't sure if he's on board with the whole thing, but he has to save his friends, so he comes up with a plan. A daring plan. To go right in through the front doors of the high-rise base of the bad dudes. It'll be the last thing their enemies could suspect. They head on in, with Joe and the mystery girl making it through a swarm of bad guys. They share a moment, but the clock is ticking. The leader of the sunglassed bad guys is in an office on the upper floor, and mystery girl shows how good she is at taking the bad guys apart. It looks like it's the end for the black dude when the bad guys get the jump on him, and to make matters worse, Joe is told that everything he's been told is a lie. He isn't a chosen one at all. The tentacled death machines are on the move again, but this time the heroes are trapped and can't do anything to stop them. As Mystery Girl watches, Joe finally starts to believe. Whether or not he is the one, he has to do whatever he can, even if everyone thinks it's impossible, and even if it involves dangling high above the ground on a bit of wire. It looks like this is the end for our hero. Something really weird happens to the leader of the evil agents. It's probably best not to ask questions. Swarms of tentacled machines close in, tearing everything apart. Joe has his eyes widened even further. It turns out he had barely even scratched the surface. Now he sees through the curtain to the true underlying nature of his world. It seems like this is the end. Our hero lies still, and yet somehow he wills himself to move. He's starting to believe. He sees the invisible codes that tie his world together. He can change the world as he sees fit. He's invincible, and he dives right into the heart of his enemy. It turns out that the real way to defeat the bad guy is for the hero and the villain to join together. Blammo! There's an explosion! The tentacle machines fall limply from the sky. Joe and the mystery girl embrace. Joe is on a busy street corner, surrounded by people and color, but we end the film with an ultimatum of destruction, implying an impending sequel. And then we rock out to the awesome soundtrack. So, was I describing the 1999 film The Matrix, or was I talking about the 2014 film The Lego Movie? Why not answer the poll in the card up the top, or comment below, or go watch my adventures with Splitsy over at youtube.com/zebramonkeys.